Hello and welcome into today's edition of the Arizona State Sun Devils Insider Podcast. My name is Kevin Hicks and I'm the lead beat writer for Arizona State Sun Devils on SI. And I'm so glad to join you once again today. Beautiful Tuesday afternoon. And we are officially reaching the home stretch before the 2025 football season starts. As we all know, the Sun Devils begin the season on August 30th against the Northern Arizona Lumberjacks, and that is going to be a game that is sold out even in late August in the heat in Tempe, Arizona. There is a lot of anticipation around this 2025 Sun Devil squad. Probably hasn't been this much excitement around Tempe and the surrounding area in years. It's going to be an absolute treat to cover the 2025 Arizona State Sun Devils, and I am so blessed to be in this position, and I couldn't do it without each and every one of you. Before we get started on today's episode, please give me a follow on X/Twitter at khicks_21. Practices for the fall session begin very shortly, and I will be at practices. I will be at games. I will be at press conferences, and yeah, all that content will be posted on X/Twitter. Um, yeah, that's all I got. And without further ado, let's get into today's episode. So, the last 2 days we've done a preview on the quarterback position and the running back position, and now we naturally progress into the wide receiver position. So, as we all know, the 2024 Sun Devil squad was arguably held back by the receiver position. And this is because what we saw in the loss to Texas in the Peach Bowl quarterfinal loss of the college football playoff. There just wasn't a lot of consistent depth behind Jordan Tyson. Xavier Guillory was a pretty solid deep threat, but the consistency wasn't necessarily there. Didn't really make much of an impact in either the Iowa State victory or the Texas loss. Malik McClain did make a big play against Texas, but that was only one of two catches he made all season. And Jake Smith was only in store for a couple of big plays during the season as well. This year's Sun Devil wide receiver group should be much, much better from a talent perspective and from a depth perspective. And we obviously have to start with none other than Jordan Tyson. Tyson is frequently discussed as the third best wide receiver in the country behind Jeremiah Smith of Ohio State and Ryan Williams of Alabama. For what that's worth, he went for obviously 1,101 yards and 10 touchdowns last season. Most impressively, he accumulated 444 yards in the final 3 games of his season before he got an upper body injury that ended his season prematurely against Arizona. But he went for over 300 yards against BYU and Kansas State's defenses. That really solidified him as a top-level receiver going into the new season and possibly going into the 2026 NFL Draft as well. Arizona State fans saw from the very first game that he suited up in a Sun Devil uniform. You can line him up anywhere on the line of scrimmage. He's versatile. He has a very, very quick first step. He's a willing blocker. He's a good route runner. He has a great release and is able to break press coverage. Although sometimes he does struggle with easy drops, or unforced drops, easy catches that he ends up dropping, and dealing with physicality at points. He's still a phenomenal prospect at the wide receiver position. Who's to say that he can't win the Biletnikoff this year? Because last year, if he had played in the Iowa State and Texas games, there's a very real shot that he eclipses 1,300 yards on the season, and there's a very real chance that they beat Texas and extend the season. It feels like the sky is only up for Jordan Tyson, and let's see if the rapport that he built with Sam Levitt last season rolls into this season. Second, Jalen Moss. Moss could end up being the second most important receiver on the Sun Devils roster simply because he could serve as a security blanket for Sam Levitt. He's not an extremely he's not known for being a downfield threat. He is known for being great at contested catches, great possession receiver, great at tracking 50-50 balls, all of that. But he is known as more of a possession receiver and a red zone threat, and that could be exactly what Sam Levitt needs. He was a productive receiver over 2 seasons at Fresno State. He is generally reliable when it comes to being available to playing games, and he looks to be in strong position to start this season for the Sun Devils. Now we're getting into the wild cards. So there is Jaron Hamilton, an Alabama transfer. He was a 4-star recruit in the 2024 class. He decided to go to Alabama, and he only played in 1 game during the season, I believe. He played very sparingly. He decided to transfer to Arizona State. And if all indications are correct, he could be an X factor for the Arizona State offense as well. Very much a burner, very much a deep threat. If Hines Ward, Marcus Arroyo, and Kenny Dillingham play their cards right, I'm not one to make comparisons a ton, but he truly could develop into a Jameson Williams light, I'd argue. That might seem like a cheap out when it comes to comparing because Williams obviously made it at Alabama. But Hamilton could be one of those guys that takes the roof off once a game, maybe once every 2 games. And that could be exactly what ASU needs on top of Jalen Moss. And as for the rest of the wide receiver room, there are underrated pieces behind those 3, such as Malik McClain. We already mentioned him earlier. He really had one massive play during the season, that 42-yard touchdown against Texas on 4th down play call on the toss from Cam Scadaboo. Zachariah Sample, all indications are that he's set for a strong season if he gets reps. There's a lot to like out of him. Jake Smith, I believe, his eligibility is out, so yeah. No, Jake Smith is still playing, so he could be a factor in the Arizona State wide receiver room. And then lastly, Uriah Nellums, a freshman out of 2A Santan Charter High School, a 3-star recruit. He actually was an athlete and played quarterback as a senior at Santan Charter and was actually quite effective. But he's a 6'4" athlete, dynamic playmaker. Really don't understand how he was rated as low as he was. I believe he was the 20th ranked player in the state of Arizona. But there's a lot to like out of his game, and he could end up factoring into the future of Arizona State football at the wide receiver position as well. So in conclusion, Arizona State's wide receiver room under Hines Ward is in a much better position this season than it was last season, and that should raise the ceiling of the offense tenfold going into Game 1 against Northern Arizona. So that's all for today. Thank you so much for tuning in today. It's been a pleasure informing you over the last 10 minutes, and I hope that everybody enjoyed the show, and I will see you tomorrow. Thank you so much.